win, go win, go win, go win, go win, man, go win.
Let's go out to a matchup in Denver as Dak Prescott and the 3-1 Dallas Cowboys are traveling to Denver to take on Bo Nix and the 5-2 Denver Broncos. The Broncos are favored by 3.5 points. It's a 4:25 p.m. kickoff in Denver, and the over-under for this matchup is 51.5 points. Let's start off with the Dallas Cowboys, as the Cowboys are 3-1 on the season. They are fresh off of a big-time win in Week 7. The Cowboys beat the Commanders in a NFC East battle in Arlington. The Cowboys beat the Commanders 44-22, and their offense was rolling in that game. The Cowboys had 27 first half points. They had 17 points in the second half, and they were rolling. In that game, the Cowboys, they had more first downs than the Commanders. The Cowboys had more rushing yards than the Commanders. They had more passing yards than the Commanders. They had more total yards than the Commanders. And the Cowboys had more sacks than the Commanders as well. And they dominated time of possession. But the thing also that you have to take in consideration with that Cowboys win over the Commanders in Week 7 was the Commanders. They were not at full strength. They were not at full strength. They did not have their two receivers and Terry McLaurin or Deebo Samuel. And Jaden Daniels got injured in that game and had to leave the game with a hamstring injury. He'll be out in the Monday night matchup against the Chiefs in Week 8. So the Commanders, they were not at full strength in that matchup against the Cowboys. So I give the Cowboys credit because they won the game and did what they needed to do to beat the Commanders. But I'm not going to say that that was a signature win for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the thing about the Cowboys is I'm looking at Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is playing the quarterback position at an MVP level right now. For the season, Dak Prescott, 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1,881 passing yards. He's completing 71% of his passes. And Dak Prescott's passer rating right now is higher than Lamar Jackson's passer rating in his MVP season. And to me, Dak Prescott is playing the quarterback position at such a high level right now. He's playing, honestly, better right now than at any point previous in his career. That's how great Dak is playing right now. And I'm looking at Dak Prescott's numbers as the quarterback for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, his completion percentage is 71. That's ranked 4th in the NFL. He's averaging 269 passing yards per game. That's ranked 3rd in the NFL. He has 16 touchdowns. That's ranked 2nd in the NFL. His passer rating is 107.6. That's ranked 9th in the NFL. And so Dak is playing at an elite level, but he is not alone. The Cowboys' overall offense has been playing at an elite level, and this is a championship offense by the Dallas Cowboys right now. This is a championship caliber offense. Let's talk about the Cowboys' offensive ranks this year and statistics. The Cowboys are averaging 32 points per game. That's ranked 3rd in the NFL. They're averaging 391 total yards per game. That's ranked 1st in the NFL. Yards per play, 6.1. That's ranked 3rd in the NFL. They are averaging 268 passing yards per game. That's ranked 2nd in the NFL. And they have 16 passing touchdowns from Dakota Prescott. That is ranked second in the NFL. And this has been a Cowboys offense that has been elite without the services of CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb just came back in the Week 7 game against the Commanders. So they have been playing at an elite level even without CeeDee Lamb. And offensively, you got a tremendous duo at the receiver position as CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. That was a great trade by Jerry Jones, trading for George Pickens, because I believe George Pickens has the talent to be one of the best number 2 receivers in the NFL. No, he's not as good as a T. Higgins. He's not as good as a Devontae Smith. But if George Pickens can play to his max potential, George Pickens can be in the conversation with the T. Higgins of the world and the Devontae Smiths of the world as well. So if George Pickens can continue to play at an elite level, it makes this Cowboys offense even better. Even better. George Pickens, 36 receptions, 607 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. And we know CeeDee Lamb is universally recognized as a top 10, arguably top 5 receiver in the NFL. So the Cowboys are playing some really, really good football, and they're even running the football very effective. So far this year, Cowboys, 122 rushing yards per game. That's ranked 13th. So they're getting better at being able to run the football. But the problem with the Cowboys is their defense is atrocious. And they arguably have the worst defense in the NFL. That's how bad the Cowboys have been defensively. Let's look at some of the Cowboys' defensive ranks. They give up 418 total yards per game. They're ranked dead last. They give up 260 passing yards per game. They are ranked dead last. They give up 141 rushing yards per game. They're ranked 30th. They give up 29 points per game. That's tied for 29th. And teams are able to convert on 52% of their third downs against the Cowboys. That also is ranked dead last. So to me, when it comes to the Cowboys defensive coordinator, Matt Eberflus, and the entire Cowboys defense, if you can just be a bad defense instead of being a atrocious defense, the Cowboys will have a chance to not only compete in the NFC East, but they could be contenders in the NFC. That's how dynamic and how elite the Cowboys are offensively. Cowboys, if they can just be bad, not atrocious, just be bad as a defense, they can be contenders in the NFC. The Cowboys remind me of the Bengals last year. Dak is Joe Burrow. CeeDee Lamb will become Jamar Chase. Maybe not as dynamic, but he will become Jamar Chase. And George Pickens can be T. Higgins. Now, the Bengals did not make the playoffs last year with that formula. But the Cowboys in the NFC, if they can continue to win some games in the early part of the season, they can position themselves to possibly make the playoffs as a wild card team. They're not going to win the NFC East. The Eagles will win that division. But if they can improve defensively and become bad or average, the Cowboys will be a playoff team with that elite offense. So they got to get better defensively and get stops. Try and get some stops. And Matt Eberflus, I'm begging you, be more aggressive as a defensive coordinator. That approach that you're going to just sit back in coverage and play it safe, that's not going to work. You're going to give up points anyway, so you might as well be aggressive and send some players on blitz opportunities and try and create some turnovers. Blitz more, Eberflus. Blitz. You have nothing to lose. We all know your defense is the weak link of this football team. So at least be aggressive and go down swinging. Now, when I look at the Denver Broncos, and before I talk about the Broncos, I have a question for Sean Payton. When are you going to grow up? Sean Payton needs to grow the hell up. And the reason why I say Sean Payton needs to grow the hell up, why did you feel the need to take shots at Russell Wilson after your team beat the Giants in week 7? Did y'all hear that press conference after the game? Sean Payton took shots unnecessarily at Russell Wilson for no reason. But big shout out to Russell Wilson. I was so happy that Russell Wilson clapped back at Sean Payton. And he basically told Sean Payton, like, he brought up the whole situation with Sean Payton when Sean Payton was in New Orleans. And I'm trying to find the tweet from Russell Wilson, but it was a great tweet from Russell Wilson. And I'm glad that Russell clapped back at Sean Payton. I was so happy that he clapped back and called Sean Payton classless, because that's exactly what it was. It was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. And so big shout out to Russell for finally clapping back. Man. But let's talk about the Denver Broncos as a football team. The Broncos are 5-2. And the Broncos are fresh off of a come-from-behind win over the New York Giants, a game in which they scored 33 points in the fourth quarter. The Broncos, their 33 points against the Giants in the fourth quarter is the most by any team that was held scoreless through the first 3 quarters, and is the tie for the second most points in the fourth quarter in NFL history. Only the 2007 Detroit Lions had more points in the fourth quarter scored with 34. So the Broncos were balling in the fourth quarter against the Giants. It also was the largest comeback in final 6 minutes of a fourth quarter since 2000. It's the second largest comeback. The Colts had a 21-point deficit that they trailed, and they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2003. So it's the second largest comeback in the final 6 minutes of the fourth quarter since 2000. So big shout out to Bo Nix and Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos for the outstanding fourth quarter. And I'm looking at Bo Nix. Bo Nix for the season. 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's completing 63% of his passes. And the Denver Broncos, as a football team, they started the season off a little rough. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, they were 1-2. But they have picked it up, and they are on a 4-game winning streak. 4-game winning streak right now for the Denver Broncos. It started out when they blew out the Bengals in week 4. Broncos beat the Bengals 28-3. Week 5, the Broncos had a come-from-behind win over the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. The Broncos beat the Eagles 21-17. Week 6, the Broncos, they barely beat the Jets 13-11, but in week 7, they beat the Giants 33-32. And so it's 4 straight wins for the Denver Broncos. And right now, the biggest threats to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West are the Denver Broncos. It's the Denver Broncos. And offensively, I've looked at the Broncos. They average 132 rushing yards per game. That's ranked 6th in the NFL. And specifically, J.K. Dobbins. I am really, really happy for this brother. J.K. Dobbins, in the past, he's dealt with nagging injuries. And this is a great story for J.K. because J.K. is obviously the best running back for the Denver Broncos for the season. 105 carries, 523 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. He has been the key for a Broncos rushing attack. And right now, Dobbins is the biggest reason why the Broncos are ranked 6th in rushing yards per game and are averaging 132 rushing yards per game. It's because of J.K. Dobbins. So the Broncos, they are running the football very effective. Now they got to get better in the passing game. Bo Nix right now is tied for 15th in passing yards per game. He's averaging 215 passing yards per game. That's got to improve. But the strength of their football team, unlike the Cowboys, is their defense. They're the complete opposite of the Cowboys. Defensively, they are top 10 in all of the major defensive categories. The Broncos, they give up 302 total yards per game. That's ranked 5th. They give up 180 passing yards per game. That's ranked 6th in the NFL. They give up 93 93 rushing yards per game. That's ranked 9th in the NFL. They give up 18 points per game. That's ranked 4th in the NFL. And they are great at getting teams off the field. They get teams off the field defensively 29% of the time. That's ranked 1st in the NFL. So defensively, the Broncos are a really, really good defense. And I believe that's the reason why they are 5-2 right now. And obviously they're led by defensive coordinator Vance Joseph. He has them playing at a very, very elite level. So, big time matchup. Dak Prescott, Bo Nix, Cowboys, Broncos on CBS in the afternoon slot in Week 8. But I believe that the Broncos are a better football team than the Cowboys are. Sean Payton is a better head coach than Brian Schottenheimer. And I just think the Broncos are playing at such an elite level defensively. I believe that the Broncos defense will have a significant impact on this game, and they are going to keep Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens in check. So I'm rolling with the Denver Broncos to beat the Dallas Cowboys in Week 8 in Denver. I'll go Broncos 28, Cowboys 17.